Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are completely demystifying IBM's newest 2026 Enterprise AI framework. Listen, if you're a CTO, a data engineer, or an IT systems admin, and you're dealing with the daily grinding friction of legacy systems, you are absolutely going to want to pay close attention. We're breaking down the architecture, the deployment, and the total revolution in data management that is IBM Bob AI. So get ready, because we are stripping away the corporate buzzwords and looking straight at the technical core. Okay, let's dive into this with a really clear roadmap. We're going to start by looking at the enterprise data crisis, then track the evolution of IBM AI. From there, we meet Bob, the orchestrator. Then we'll explore bridging legacy and modern systems, break down deployment and security, and wrap the whole thing up with the hard numbers in the DevOps ROI. All right, Section 1, the enterprise data crisis, or drowning in disconnected silos. Let's be real for a second. The current infrastructure friction is literally a nightmare for IT teams. You have all this incredible AI potential, right? But it's locked behind these massive walls of outdated architecture. We are dealing with a really stark contrast here. On one side, the reality of legacy data stacks is just heavy and bogged down. We're talking fragmented SQL databases, monolithic cloud setups, endless manual patching, and these tangled, error-prone servers where simple data extraction takes weeks. But then contrast that with modern needs. AI requires streamlined, high-speed, optimized pipelines, unified routing, and absolutely instant data extraction to even function properly. The friction between these two sides, it's just breaking enterprise workflows. So the crucial takeaway here is understanding exactly why forcing modern large language models into old tech stacks simply does not work. I mean, you just run face first into these major pain points. You hit API rate limits that bottleneck your entire operation. You get those dangerous AI hallucinations because your retrieval augmented generation, your RAG indexing, is just poorly integrated with messy data. And honestly, worst of all, trying to fix this by relying on public APIs leads to massive security compliance failures. Proprietary corporate data gets exposed, and obviously that is a total non-starter.
Moving right along to Section 2, Evolution of IBM AI, from Watson to Autonomous Agents.
To really understand the solution, we kind of have to look at the historical context and exactly why earlier enterprise solutions struggled to scale. Back in 2021, the legacy Watson model, like Watson for Oncology, faced some severe scaling limitations. It was essentially a centralized cloud-only AI. Then in 2023, IBM pivoted with the launch of Watson X for generative AI. But the real breakthrough? That started taking shape in 2025 with the beta testing of autonomous agents. This was a completely necessary pivot away from centralized cloud models because of strict data sovereignty laws. And that leads us straight to 2026, the launch of IBM Bog, introducing completely decentralized, localized agentic workflows.
Which brings us to Section 3, Meet Bob, the orchestrator. And we are going to shatter the whole chatbot misconception right now.
All right, pace picks up here because this technical solution literally changes everything you know about enterprise AI. Let's explicitly define what we're talking about. BOB stands for Business Operation Bot. And I want to clear up the single biggest misconception right out of the gate. Bob is absolutely not just another chatbot to help you draft emails. No way. It is an autonomous system-to-system back-end orchestrator. Think of it as a high-speed data traffic controller. It operates entirely invisibly, managing cross-departmental API requests without any human bottlenecks. Actually, there's a brilliant quote from IBM CEO Arvind Krishna from 2026 that perfectly hits the nail on the head regarding this paradigm shift. He said, "We are moving past conversational AI. Bob is about autonomous system-to-system task execution." That perfectly anchors what we're exploring today. We aren't typing prompts into a little box anymore, folks. We are deploying localized, completely automated pipelines.
Section 4, Bridging Legacy and Modern, Unifying SQL and Vectors.
Let's peel the onion a bit further, zoom right down into the actual technical architecture, and address a really critical question. How does Bob actually prevent hallucinations while bridging legacy databases? I mean, this is the industry's biggest security and accuracy fear, right? If you plug a shiny new AI into a messy old database, how do you trust the output? Well, the answer is all in the data architecture. When you use public cloud LLMs, you face high security risks, broad hallucinations, and super slow extraction because the data is completely disconnected and external.
But with Bob's localized RAG, the system uses localized vector search algorithms that connect directly to your legacy SQL databases. It bridges that fragmented legacy data into a unified, high-speed vector pipeline without ever exposing your proprietary corporate data to the public cloud. It's giving you on-premise data sovereignty and instant SQL bridging. Real game-changer stuff.
So how is it actually pulling this off? It really boils down to three core architectural pillars. First, containerized deployment via OpenShift. This allows it to run securely on-premise or in a hybrid cloud. Second, vector database integration. This is the magic that translates all that old SQL data into something the AI can instantly understand. And third, API orchestration. This is what lets Bob act as that invisible traffic controller, seamlessly routing data between finance, HR, and logistics without a single manual intervention.
Okay, Section 5, Deployment and Security. Bring it on-premise.
Let's move from the abstract architecture stuff to concrete, actionable engineering tasks. How do you actually turn this thing on? Well, if you're a systems admin, you're going to love how streamlined this is. Here's the standard initialization sequence for deploying Bob nodes via OpenShift containers. Step 1, terminal initialization. Step 2, database connection mapping. Step 3, neural node activation. It's a precise, analytical 1-2-3 workflow. We're talking about replacing weeks of manual backend patching with literally minutes of setup.
And because this whole deployment is completely localized, the compliance benefits are just massive. IBM Bob has actually been fully cleared by cybersecurity audits for federal contractor usage and Fortune 500 on-premise integration. By keeping the processing model localized, enterprise teams bypass all the massive security headaches associated with public cloud AI. Just completely sidestep them.
Finally, Section 6, the DevOps ROI. Let's talk about engineering hours saved.
Let's bring this explainer home with some hard metrics. What is the actual concrete return on investment for IT teams adopting this framework? Try 60%. That is a massive reduction. According to lead systems architects at Red Hat, deploying Bob via OpenShift containers reduces orchestration overhead by a full 60%. Think about that. That's thousands of engineering hours previously wasted on manual data patching that are now completely automated.
And honestly, the industry is catching on so incredibly fast. We are seeing a whopping 320% spike in Google searches for IBM Bobby API documentation over just the last 60 days. GitHub and Stack Overflow, they are exploding with custom Bob integration scripts right now. And hey, that's saying a lot considering how notoriously hard it is to impress developers on Stack Overflow. So this isn't just some abstract future concept, it's a rapid industry-wide adoption happening right now.
Which leaves us with this final, kind of provocative question to chew on. As system-to-system execution becomes entirely autonomous, what will your data engineers build with their reclaimed time? I mean, when your team is no longer drowning in API rate limits and tedious manual SQL extraction, the potential for true innovation is just limitless. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this gives you the technical roadmap you need to go out and modernize your own enterprise tech stacks.